Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is William Gomez. I'm a Tulsa, Oklahoma mortgage loan officer. And over the last 6 years, I've been able to help over 800 families move into their first, second, or forever home. Today, I'm excited that you're here because I'm going to talk about 3 different ways on how you're able to access your equity. So this specific video is going to be for people that already own homes, maybe have owned them for a long period of time, and you've paid your mortgage down and you're like, I have all this, what's called equity, which is pretty much money in your walls, but how do I access it? If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do because my goal is to keep providing more longer form educational videos for you and your family to be able to know how to create generational wealth through real estate. So let's get started. When we talk about equity, a lot of people don't even know what that term means. Equity is the amount of return on investment that you are accruing over time. And this is done in a couple of different ways. One is by paying down your mortgage down, right? So you buy the house for, let's say, $200,000 and you are paying it over time. So naturally, you're gonna have money that's sitting there from the debt that you've paid down. But the second one, that's the best way to be able to accrue equity on your home, is appreciation. Depending on where you live, this appreciation percentage is going to look different, right? In my area, a good number is going to be around 4.17%. So every single year, a home that you're purchasing, it's going up in value. Let's call it 4%. And so if you've lived in the property for a long period of time, this is going to accrue a bunch of money that is in your home, but you can't access that unless you sell the home or these 3 different ways that I'm about to go over. All right, so the first step that we're gonna go through is accessing your current equity without having to sell, which are 3 different ways. The first one is going to be a home equity line of credit. Second one is going to be a home equity loan. And the third one is going to be a cash out refinance. So the 3 biggest difference between these 3. First, you have a home equity line of credit. Think of this as a huge credit card. And the reason I say huge is because most of the time these limits on these home equity lines of credit are going to be a lot bigger than your maybe a couple $1,000 limit that you have on your credit card. And the reason why I say huge as well is even though it might be the same amount of limit that you have on your credit card, this is attached to your home. So that is why they're able to give you the set limits there, because it's based on the value of your home. The other thing too is, unlike your credit card, you can pull out your checkbook and just write a check and get cash out of that. Unlike credit cards, you can do that in some, but the fees are pretty outrageous in some of those. The difference between that and a home equity loan is that as you're borrowing money from that line of credit, as you're paying it back, just like a credit card, that limit becomes available again to you. A home equity loan is you borrowing against your home a set amount. So let's say that you're wanting to get $10,000 out and you have plenty of equity in your home, and you say, I want to get a home equity loan, and they give you $10,000. Well, once that's paid down, that you're done with that loan. And if you want to access more equity, more money from that home, then you have to go to the bank and get another loan for that. The biggest difference when it comes to payment and when it comes to interest rates is home equity loan is going to have a fixed interest rate. A home equity line of credit is going to have a variable interest rate there. The last but not least is going to be a cash out refinance. And the biggest difference that I can explain the cash out refinance to the home equity loan and home equity line of credit is the cash out refinance is going to be refinancing your entire loan. So if you currently have a really good interest rate, this interest rate is going to change to whatever the market is today. But the beauty of that is that you're only going to have one payment overall. So this makes a lot of sense a lot of the times when people are trying to consolidate debt. And even if maybe their payment is going to be going up, their overall expenses monthly are going to go down. Now, if you're doing a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit, that's going to be a second payment outside of your first mortgage payment. So now that we've covered how you can access the money, the second question is, what do I do with that money, right? I've covered a little bit of an example of maybe somebody that's looking to consolidate some debt, But I want you to think about how you could actually, even if you don't have any debt, maximize the return on investment of your current home even further. A couple of different ways would be to pulling out that money and maybe even investing it in the real estate market. If you don't feel comfortable with that, but you've maybe thought about dabbling into the real estate market, you can use the current equity to be able to purchase another home, let's say a rental property, and start generating cash flow for you on a monthly basis. Now, if you're one of those people that says, hey, I'm good where I'm at, I don't want to get into this investment because it's a lot of risk. A couple of other ways that people access that equity is, for one, consolidating debt, like I told you. Right now, we are in a place in our economy where everything seems to be just super high. So it's super easy to get new credit card debt because maybe you are buying things you shouldn't be buying, or maybe you're just trying to get by, to be completely honest. So if you have accrued so much debt, you're able to use this to be able to not only save a ton of interest, because you're going to be looking at a difference between a 20, 25, 30% interest rate down to a 15, 12, maybe 9% interest rate on this. So not only is it going to save you on interest, but it's also going to save you on your overall monthly payment as well too. Now, if you've been blessed enough to where you don't have any debt at all, it's like, why would I want this? I always recommend somebody, it's always good to have it for an emergency, right? Because a lot of the times when the emergency comes, people can't access it. Like whenever I was doing a lot of these in my career before I fully was doing mortgages, I used to have people that would come to me that were making a good amount of money, but then they would just have gotten laid off and say, hey, I need to access a home equity line of credit. And I would be like, you can't get it qualified for anymore because you don't have any income. But if you get that right now, you don't have to use it, a home equity line of credit, and you're able to pull from it. God forbid something was to happen, like you lose your job. Guys, well, I hope that this was helpful to you. I know that a lot of this can sound like Chinese to a lot of people if you're not in the industry. So you want to make sure that if you have any other questions, I encourage you to drop it down in the comments. I'll be replying to those comments, and also getting ideas from those comments to create more content like this. Make sure that you subscribe again if you're not already to the channel, so you can get notifications every time a video like this drops, in order for you to keep learning not only how to purchase a home, but also what do I do after I'm a homeowner, and how can I capitalize that even more? The difference between a renter and somebody that owns a home, their net worth is 42 times more than somebody that rents. And when you look at the top people that have most of the wealth in the world and the nation, it's people who own real estate. So my hope is for you to learn from these videos in order for you to be able to get ahead through real estate. So again, can't wait to see you at the next video. Thanks so much for tuning in.